So for me, why I did this project? To interview myself as well as a few other Tongans, was to kind of get our perspective and our narrative in spaces that we're generally not recognized in, or where our voices are silenced. And for that portion, I also got a few interviews from Samoans too, just because of the history that we have together. So seeing how Pacific Islanders in general are represented and how Tongans are represented within that representation.
I was raised in Aotearoa, New Zealand.
Born and raised in Fiji.
I was raised in and born in the Bay Area, California.
That's real bad.
Two delusional Tongans, that's two, the number.
I mean, neither of us grew up in Tonga, so the way that you go about understanding your relationship to a place that you've never been to until you're older is really bizarre, and yeah, you can't help but be disconnected because you physically are disconnected.
I didn't have an idea of what it meant to be Tongan.
And sometimes they would correct me in my mistakes. So like, I would like feel like, oh, I just feel like, oh, I'm not Tongan anymore.
So I always grew up around other Pacific Islanders, but not necessarily just Tongans.
I wasn't around my Tongan side enough to also pick it up as much as I wanted to.
I think of Tonganness in relation to other island identities.
And it wasn't until I was an adult that I started to attempt to express my Tonganness outwardly and go beyond just connecting with my Tongan family and start connecting with other Pacific Islanders.
I low-key would love for it to be like how it is in New Zealand, how like Pacific Islander representation there is like really heavy. I mean, obviously, but like you can see us like on the TV, hear us on the radio and everything. But when it comes to here, like I feel like we're really underrepresented.
They're represented well through sports.
NFL teams.
Mostly in sports, I would say wrestling and football.
Well, even on wrestling, a lot of the old Samoan women, I mean not just women, but all the Samoan old people, they all watch wrestling. Ever since I was little, they still do. And I feel like that might be because there have been polys in the wrestling field since like the 80s.
There's of course the stereotype of like the stay-at-home poly.
They make videos and talk about what they think about stuff, like vlogging.
Are like being really not that, like being creative, being able to like dance well and sing well, and like just generally being good at the arts.
Social media.
Through other media, like Facebook.
Jason Momoa being like Aquaman is not going to solve any of these problems, unfortunately. Right? It would be like a plethora of people that anybody growing up could look to.
There's the kind of activist stereotype, the social justice warrior, as some of them might call it. And then I think you're either a famous athlete, you're either a stay-at-home poly who's probably in a gang, or you're I don't know. Yeah, you're just one of the stereotypes.
But no, I've really struggled with finding representation and finding images that I could hold on to and be proud of.
I honestly don't think that we really are represented as much as we should be.
Being lazy, stupid, uneducated. Assume if you're brown that you don't have a job, or that you're like not doing anything.
There's some people who have bad experiences with Tongans, and then they will like segregate you, and they will like, hey, like, oh. And when they finally get to know you, they were like, oh, I thought you were this mean guy. I mean, I look like I could be mean, but they're super cool.
The schools and the institutions that we're a part of don't take care of us like we need to be.
A lot of things that exist within systems or structures are not made with people like us in mind. And so, like, I'm not surprised when people join things like gangs.
The Tongan Crips, and they call themselves the Shoreview Crips.
They say the Tongan Crip gang up in Utah is pretty big.
there's so little representation of Pacific Islanders in the media, there's an over-representation of us like participating in gangs. And there's really like the great majority of Tongan families is like the gang of Jesus Christ. It's the church they go to every week.
And it's kind of messed up that we're generalized to that position, because then some of us kind of fall into that stigma.
And so, like, following like stereotypes and like judging you before they meet you kind of thing, like, I don't think like your nationality or your stuff should like judge you.
Yo! Is this where I turned my head back?
Yeah. Oh, so hip
I'll just say Drake. I'm not part of a fan of hip hop, but like there's some songs like here and there you hear like, hey, like that's pretty good.
Yeah, so my older siblings always had like Tupac playing and Snoop Dogg and everything since I was little, so I've always listened to it.
I was younger, I used to love Asian Mystic.
DJ Noise.
I liked the lyrics of their music, and I liked that it was about like being Pacific Islanders in New Zealand, and a lot of the songs were about like brotherhood.
Like my favorite rapper right now is definitely
Tunisian 9.
Like especially with Tupac, a lot of what he talks about in his songs is very prevalent because it's what's happening in society. It's what was happening back in the 90s and it's still happening.
But Savage, New Zealand artist.
But when he raps, it sounds like very ghetto, but then there is a meaning to what he's rapping about, like the street life and stuff. But then there's people that just rap about what they go through. And like, in a rap, I feel like there's a story behind it. So if you listen closely to the lyrics, you can see like you know, any rapper can be rapping about their life or what they've been through. So that's kind of what I like.
I'm way more critical. I see these problems that are in hip hop in my life in Tacoma, or in the struggle that I have through academia, or in everything, the struggle that my cousins, my family goes through.
They usually talk about like feelings of like what they feel like, whether it's like a topic in politics or what they've been through, like growing up emotionally and like in relationships, and you know, sometimes about the party life. Yeah. Other than that, they usually express themselves in a way.
I think that's really what I take away from hip hop, is that it's the voice. It's a damn good voice. It is an outlet for POCs, the downtrodden, people with less, to simply speak their mind openly.
With the different elements of hip hop, you can see dance, you can see music, you can see stories being told with each other, right? Hip hop kind of takes us out of that stigma that we're placed in, right? It kind of lets us be more than people see us to be.